Hey guys, Billy here with Preacher's Creatures. What I wanted to do in today's video is kind of revisit a video that I did about 5 months ago, and it was featuring the Angling AI 5-inch stickworm stick bait. And in that video, I was really just kind of advertising the fact that I had the ability to do the stickworms. And I had a subscriber reach out to me yesterday about how I did the entire video, or not video, how I did the entire bait. I talked about the bands that I put in there, but I didn't show how I did it. And so that's what we want to do in today's video. Go ahead and try to do a comprehensive video on it. And I know Chris Jones at World's Worst Fishing, he's done a video highlighting this as well. Probably done a lot better comprehensive job than I will be able to do. But nonetheless, when a subscriber reaches out and has a question or has an idea for a video, I want to respect that. And so that's what we're going to do today. Stick around. Hope you enjoy the video, and we'll see you on the flip side. Okay, so first thing we've got to do is we've got to get our worm bands. And I already have some made up, but I do want to show the process of how you do it, because there's a couple things that we have to do. One of the things we have to do is we've got to lube up these rods that's on the inside so that the bands will slide off a little easier. And matter of fact, I feel like there's a little bit left over from I can see it on my finger from the last time, but we'll still do a little touch up on that. And the way you lubricate those is you use some worm oil softener, and that'll help get those off. But the way that you want to make your bands for wacky rigging, you actually want to make them a harder plastic than what you normally would do. And I already had some made up, so I'm just heating it up right now, getting it up to temperature so we can shoot it. But what you do is you just make it the color that you would want your band. But when you're heating up your plastisol, what I typically do for like a half cup is I will put, or a cup, and you can always add more, but for like a cup, I'll add like a tablespoon of hardener. And I got this from Dead On Plastics, and you can get hardener from all the manufacturers. And so just get you some of that, and put you some in with your plastisol and stir it up. Shoot you a test, see if it's the hardness you want, and if it's not, add a little bit more, and keep going until you have it the hardness that you would like. I use the Dead On Plastics. Well, that's a house blend, but what I have is a 5-gallon bucket of the Crawl Tube blend. And what I do is I take it out of there and pour it into these jugs because they're easier. But that's what I'm shooting, is the Dead On Plastics Crawl Tube blend. And so it's kind of a medium durometer, I think is what they say. And so I just add a tablespoon of hardener for a cup or a half cup, depends on how hard you want it. And it'll just make a stiffer, harder plastic when it dries. Now, one thing I have noticed is the more hardener you put in, you can see you got to be very careful and warm this up slowly, because I've found that the more hardener you put in it, the more tendency it has to burn. And so you can see right there, there's a little speck in that. And so when I'm dealing with this, I heat it up 30 seconds at a time. and I give it a little bit of a break in between and heat it up again. You just don't want to heat it up real fast or it's gonna scorch real quick. So let me get this heated up and I'll get the worm band rods oiled up and we'll be back on the flip side. Alright, so that's almost done there. What we want to do is we want to take our rods. What I typically do is just take it and dip it down in there just like that, and I dipped it down in there about that far. I'm going to take and I'm going to just coat that nice and thorough, and then I'm not going to dip this one because I have enough on my fingers, because you don't want to lather it, you just want to coat it real good. So we'll get that put away, get this mold put back together. And again, this mold is from Anglin AI as well. And so let's check our, get that burnt piece off of there, scorched piece. Alright. I'm shooting it hot because I've because the mold is cold. I'm going to work on getting a hot plate to warm my molds up. But until then, I'll just shoot it hot. So, here we go. It does not take a lot of plastic. Okay, get this out of the way. Because it's cold, I shot it kind of fast and held pressure. I will say this, when you're trying to figure out how stiff you want the plastic to be for your rings, I recommend going a little bit harder than what you think. And the reason for that is, and I have some already made up here, the reason for that is they're hollow, and so the plastic's going to feel pretty stiff, but you want it a little stiffer than what you probably would think, because it is hollow, and so it'll just make up for having the regular plastic shot through the center of it. And so, all right, we're going to let this cool down and we'll be back in a second to open it up. All right, guys, this should have cooled down enough, and we'll get this cleaned up a little bit before we open it up. Alright, make sure we're on camera here. And there it is. There's what it looks like on the inside, and you can see there's 8 on this side, 8 on this side. So you can shoot a total of 16 at a time. And to remove them, there's a couple different ways. Sometimes I just hold the rod down and just peel it off, but you just hold each one, give it a little pull. Same thing on this side. Oh, done dropped one off, had plenty of oil on it, and there you go. Put that back in to remelt. And there you go. Minus the one I dropped on the ground. So we'll get that one. Get it wiped off. So there's 8. Now, here's the thing. Talking about that scorching. Here's one. This is the same color, but this has been heated up a couple times, and so, you know, that don't bother me, because really, the purpose of this is so that you have a harder ring to secure your hook in the worm. So it don't really bother me. If it was a customer order, I would make sure that I did it all in one run, but I did a few of these that I needed, and then you know, I've put the rest away until I needed some more. And of course, doing this video demonstrating, but that's good information for people to know when you're doing a harder plastic. It just seems like it scorches a lot easier. Okay. All right. So now that you've seen that part, we're going to put this away, and I'll show you how I load the 5-inch stick bait mold, and we'll get us a color going for that. We'll be back. These are very simple to put in. Let me show you this. So what you'll notice is you've got these rings, or these ribs, that run along the majority of this the insert, but then on this end you have a smooth part, and what that is for is so that you can place this in, and I don't know if you can see this on camera, but right where the ribs stop, it actually comes in a little bit. And so when you go to place these in there, what you want to do is put those ribs in line with the ribs in the mold, and then this smooth part here will actually go into the egg sac area of the bait. And they did that so that when you make your bait, the tougher insert is in the middle of the bait instead of toward the top, and so it helps the bait weigh properly, so that you're not having just one side flop a lot more than the other. So the design on this is really forward thinking. So we're going to get these placed in the mold, and you know, sometimes when you're doing like tails and things like that, you need to add worm oil. With these, it's I don't find that it's necessary because of the way that they've designed this mold, so that those ribs line up right there with the egg sac. And so there you go. That's how you put those in there, easy peasy. Now we'll get this in the vise, and we'll start working on our body color. Hang around, and we'll be right back. Okay guys, I think what I'm going to use for the base color is this synthetic from Dead On Plastics, and I don't think I've actually used this color, and at least not in the video. I don't think I've used it at all, so we're going to experiment together. I've got 3/4 of a cup of Plastisol here. Let's start off with 20 drops and see where that gets us. 8, 9, 10. So that would be 20 drops there. We'll get this stirred in. And I know the motor oil color is a popular color. but I've never used it, so we're going to learn together. So you can see, you might be able to see there's a little bit of a kind of a green to reddish tint there. I think we're going to darken it up just a little bit more. So let's try 5 more drops. The drops coming out of the bottle are green, but it certainly has that little bit of a red tint to it on the stirring stick. And so, I don't know. I think I want to go with 5 more drops, so that'll be 30 total. And we'll shoot the baits with this regardless. I'm kind of interested to see what it looks like without anything added to it, since it's the first time I've used it. Normally I like to do like Adam over SDG and dirty it up a little bit with some flake, but since this is my first time, we're just going to shoot it as it is. And so let's see what the temperature is. I do want to shoot a little bit hotter. I know it's hotter than 200 and something. There we go. So it's still up there pretty warm. I find when you're shooting this mold with the inserts in there, it's better to shoot it hot so that you get a good bond. So let me reposition the camera and we'll get this mold shot. Excuse me. Sorry about the coughing. I'm still battling. I've been battling sickness for the last couple weeks, so. But I think we're about to get over it. So here we go. Dead on Plastics motor oil into the Anglin AI 5-inch stick bait that has the worm bands in there. We want to go fairly smooth, but we don't want to drag around. Hold pressure. That helps keep it from denting. Top it off so it still has plenty of good plastic to draw from. There we go. Set this out of the way. And I apologize, I shot that without my gloves. I was more concerned about getting it shot, but the Anglin AI premium injector, it takes a while for it to get hot. However, you got to be careful because sometimes plastisol splashes and it can get on you, and if it gets on you, it's going to burn you pretty good. So alright, we're going to let this cool off and we'll be back to see what we have. Alright guys, we've give it time to cool off. Let's open up our vise here. Pull out our 5-inch stick bait mold. Make sure we're on camera. And let's open these up. Okay. Excuse me. So there we go. Dead on Plastics motor oil. That was 30 drops to 3/4 of a cup. And certainly where it's thicker we can see more green. Where it's thinner we see more red. And you can obviously see those bands. Now the one thing we did not do that is an option when you make your stick baits is you can add softener which is nothing more than worm oil. And I tend to kind of do the same ratio as I did with these inserts to make them a harder plastic. I typically will go like a half tablespoon, sometimes a tablespoon, to harden this up. And of course, you know, we use this hardener. And so, trying to make sure I'm explaining this right. So when it comes to the plastisol that we use to shoot the baits with, I typically do the same ratio with the worm oil. So half a tablespoon. If I want it real soft, I go up to a tablespoon. And what that's going to get you is, that's going to get you a stick bait that, I mean, is just real limber with that harder core insert, so that it don't go slinging off of your hook. But for me, that's still quite a bit of flex in that. I could go a little bit softer, but I'm fine with that. So, all right, we might add a little bit more motor oil colorant to our plastisol and shoot another round of these and see how they turn out. So stick around, we'll get our plastic heated back up. Now, because I've added worm oil, which your plastisol is your plastisol is just a mixture of the plasticizer and the hardener, and or I don't know the terminology for it, but basically if you have more hardener than worm oil, it's going to give you a harder bait. If you have more of a ratio of worm oil to hardener, it's going to give you a softer bait. It has its limits. You got to be careful because you can take it too far and just have a goopy mess. So just little is more when you're doing this stuff, and you can always add a little bit more. So, but what you don't want to do, you don't want to get into a situation where you add too much hardener, then you try to add softener and hardener and something back and forth, and before you know it, you're wasting a bunch of plastisol. And so anyhow, we're going to get this back up to temperature, and we'll be right back. Alright, so we've got the temperature back up into the 330s, but the problem is, because we added softener, I really want to get that temperature up over 350 to make sure that the softener we put in there bonds with the rest of the plastisol. So we gotta keep on going. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, we got it up there. A little bit on the hot side. But let's put some more of this in there. And 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll do 10 drops. So this should make for a softer bait because we put the softener in there. And we'll compare them. And I tell you, I want to dirty this up, and like Adam says over at SDG, let's do some of this Meteor flake. It's a small, well, medium 0.025, and we're going to put some of that in there. And this motor oil color, we'll say it's some metal shavings that we found in the oil pan. And so, but this Meteor, it's a black, but it's also a holographic black. So let's put some small Meteor in there just to dirty it up a little bit. And you see a little bit of green, a little bit of purple, a little bit of blue. Don't necessarily want to go real crazy with it, but we do want to break it up a little bit. So see if you can see in that cup. Alright, she's still pretty warm, still around 340. So let's get things ready, and we'll shoot another round. I've already got the rings in the mold. Alright, let's get our gloves on this time. Don't want to be guilty of too much of do as I say, not as I do. I want to practice what I preach, which being a preacher, that's pretty important. Alright, here we go. Nice smooth draw. I could even see doing some red flake in this too, because that's going to kind of go with the changeable. Nice and smooth. Kind of went, I think I went a little too fast last time because I had some bubbles show up. And when you're dealing with baits that have ridges, which these worms aren't too, they got the little grooves in there, but they're not too bad. But you can still cause bubbles if you're not careful. You cause voids in your baits. Top that off while it's drinking plastic. We're going to let her cool off. We'll see you back on the flip side. Alright guys, we're going to crack this mold open and see what we have, see what the results are. See the color shift on the top there, where it's red where it's thin and green where it's thick. And so we definitely got a little more green there. This is the one we did before, and less saturated, but we still can see through this one pretty good. We're going to do a comparison here on since we put that softener in there, and put the glitter in there, or the flake. So let's get one of these out. And you can see the droop in that one. Not a crazy difference, but there is a subtle difference, and I can definitely feel the difference in these two baits. So there's the action on that one, and I can feel a difference whether you pick it up on camera or not, and how much more limber the one is than the other. So anyway, see if we can't get them equal in the hand. Can't tell too much of a difference, but you can feel the difference. So, you know, if you wanted, I added maybe a half a teaspoon of softener. You could probably go a full teaspoon, but you got to be careful that you don't go too far, because if you do, they're going to just be too soft, and you won't get a lot of use out of them. I mean, you'll get this to stay on the hook for sure. But that's the neat thing about making your own baits. If you want to make them so soft that they got a whole lot of action, but at the same time you catch a fish and it tears it apart, hey, that's the beauty of it. You can do that. But I think we still got plenty of structural integrity in that bait, and got a lot of limber movement there. So anyway, but enough is enough. I've already run my mouth a little bit too much. Let's do one more thing. Let me get my light, and hopefully I won't blind y'all. But let's check these out, see if, yeah, we can see the light shines through. We get hints of red there. There we go. So it's still got the changeable. I like how it looks with that black flake in there. Pretty cool, guys. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, we was demonstrating more so the process from start to finish, from making the band inserts that are made out of a harder plastic, and how we make those, how we insert them into the mold, and then how we shoot the rest of the mold to get the completed product. And so hope you enjoyed the video, hope you found it educational, and please, if you haven't, hit that like and subscribe button, and share our videos with folks that you think might enjoy the content. And we appreciate all the good comments, all the suggestions, and we're just thankful that we're able to do this kind of thing and try to help people out. But until next time, don't forget, you'll love the features of Preacher's Creatures.